Morning, everyone. So we just talked about Loki in the last video as a potential fourth threat, and much like a dog and a squirrel from Up, I'm looking at another model to potentially test and try out. And so in this one, we're gonna do a short talk about Squirrel Girl, and so I play Sam, as you all know. And so the main focus is on Sam style stuff, and the Danger Room just had a podcast about Sam again, since Dean and I guess Sooner and even I guess Mike all play some version of him, and so they'll have a lot of great information. They'll talk about Voodoo and Crimson and Bill, and I use some of those as well. And so I do try to find other things just to try maybe different styles, and so. One style that I have wanted to try, and I actually had part of the idea a couple months ago, and I never tested it a lot, was, I even had a video on it, I think, where I talked about, I really like Logan. I think X-23 is super strong. She always seems to screw me up, both because of just their damage output and, healing factor I think is super strong, exceptional healing. And then obviously, they have, I hate this term. I absolutely hate this term, so I'm going to use it ironically, action economy. So I think it's a dumb term. I get it. I know why it's a term, but it sounds like when big corporations use like synergy and stuff in like presentations. It just sounds like a fancy word, like consultant word, and you're just like, okay, I get it. They can do multiple things with one action or something like that. But that got me thinking, and also, like, instead of the control aspect of Sam necessarily, like, this idea of a damage aspect, right? Because because he has such a reactive leadership, like, people have to kill you to make you use it, right? Obviously. So, and most people have to at least do some damage to Sam, or they're not going to win because of Voodoo or whoever. But some teams, like maybe Webs or X-Men, can get away with it a little bit less. That being said, I wanted the idea of like, hey, if Sam's good in attrition, instead of relying on the enemy to be an attrition-based team potentially, why not you do some damage yourself and make them kill you, or they're going to lose because you're doing too much damage, right? And so that's where the idea of X-23 and Logan came in, other than just being good models, is, can I slide them in to a slot in Sam where you build a roster that has both of them in there. They're very killy. That's basically what they do. But also, just put them in. Because you can think about something like, I was thinking like, oh, can I dual leadership Weapon X? And, Weapon X only has 6 models. And it's like, okay, who are you really getting by playing Weapon X over, say, 2 of the best Weapon X models just with a different leader, right? And so if you think of Sam, cheap 3-threat, great 3-threat, even anyway, amazing leadership. I mean, compared to the Weapon X leadership, which is what? You get 2 dice. You get 2 dice from a token that only Weapon X people can use. And then if they don't do any damage, you get to move. And then if somebody KOs one of your models, you get a new token. But Sam is just, if they KO your models, you get to move and heal and all this other great stuff. So it felt like, to me, the effort to duel the affiliation just didn't seem worth it. The card slots, who do you bring as your third Weapon X? Like Honey Badger, do you really need it? Or can you go a little bit more, killy side with Sam and just take the fight to people? And so in that conversation, and I've run that before. I've run some test games with like Logan X-23. So think of, if you listen to the Danger Room podcast, they talk about the big team with Sam, or the good, I don't know what they call it, the team, where it was Sam, Voodoo, Bill, Iron Man, Luke, right? And at 17. And so at 17, which I took the other day just in a test game, you can run Sam, Logan, Voodoo, Sam, Logan, Voodoo, Luke, X-23. So you basically take Bill and Iron Man, who are like, one's like a long range blaster, and then Bill, who kind of does everything, is tanky, and you turn them into X-23 and Logan, and you just say, I'm going to go get ya. Now, it depends on the crisis as well, and because Sam is so good at all the crises, you could say, all right, well, Logan is very good at pay to flips, people don't really like playing pay to flips a lot of the time. It kind of messes with people. So I'm taking pay to flip, one pay to flip. So like my 3 secures right now are Scoundrels, because Sam and Avengers are amazing at it. Fisk, because I have what I consider a pretty good 16 for Fisk, which is Hulk, Sam, Luke, and Logan. Because, I mean, you could claim that the Fisk are kind of close together and Logan's not always getting his out of 3, but he's immune to stun, he has healing factor for the damage, and then you have Hulk who's immune to stun, you have Luke who's great in displacement. I mean, 2 throws. Sam can push, Logan can throw, Hulk has pushes and throws, and Luke has a throw on his spender, and it's not really the most recent ticket. But Sam doesn't really care about being stunned that much because he's either gaining 1 with his shield or he's just getting hit, which is okay, sure. If you hit for 4 and you only get 1 power, great, but it's not that big a deal. And then Luke, it's a little more annoying for Luke, but not even so, because you're not usually doing a lot of power by punching people, and you're usually getting hit for like 1 or 2 at a time. So yes, it's not the best, but also you can clear it with if somebody like has to take out Logan or take out Sam. And if you're getting stunned, your 2 main damage dealers at 16 are Hulk and Logan, it's fine. You can just win on scenario points, because if you can get both of them, then it's insane. Anyway, that was the idea why I take Logan and why I take Fisk. But we're getting to the video point. Don't worry, we're getting there. And so I have this 17. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I like it. I like the idea of it. I think playing models like Logan with their place and their throw and their beam, like, I think you can do some really cool plays that, give you sort of a skill expression, and not just in I'm gonna do 5 dice with rerolls and pierce, and because I'm out of range of my friends, whatever, or just a 7 dice beam with pierce and bleed and rerolls, blah blah blah. It's I'm going to throw this model, place 1 inch on the other side, and then be able to attack this model and then land on the extract or the point, something like that. Like little things that it's hard to see unless you're looking for those. And I think those plays are probably the most fun to make. And X-23 is just insane as far as like goddamn action economy. But that spender is crazy. It's basically, I mean, if you think about it, right? Charge. Okay, it's basically hit and run on a spender, right? So it's a 3 range attack where she basically has hit and run, because the spender costs 2. She gets the medium move afterwards. No trigger or anything, just gets it, right? And so it's a 6 dice pierce with a built-in reroll, because for whatever, she has it. And it's just basically hit and run on her. And she can do it multiple times, so it's like double hit and run if you really want it. Because you can, and then you can throw no matter the cost, because it's very good on Logan, it's very good on her, it's probably good on some other models too. It's good on like Luke, if you really want to. It's not the best on Luke because the damage reduction. Oh no, that's enemy effects only, so it does work on him. Is it enemy effects? I think Iron Man's the only one. That being said, no matter the cost is a good card, and probably should be taking more, but it's very good on those 2, because, taking 3 on Logan when he's full health, just a healing factor 2 back so you can beam somebody that they might not think you have power for, right? So now when you have 4 power, which is not that uncommon for Logan early on to have 4, maybe starting a turn, whether he got hit or didn't attack, now you can, do you know who I am? Throw, not depend on doing 3 damage to get the power to beam, and then you can just, like, no matter the cost, boom, drop that beam and just do so much damage that doesn't matter. All right, so now we're talking about that team. That's like an aggressive, like, go at you team. You only have 1 model that sits in the back point. You take Voodoo to do Voodoo things, and so now they have to deal with Voodoo, with Luke Cage defending whoever's important, and then X-23 and Logan are just there being obnoxious and killing people. Does it work? We're going to try. Because it's much harder to ignore Logan than, like, a Bill. All right, and so then I was talking to Curtis, and I was like, listen, I like this idea, but what I really want is to go even more aggressive, potentially. And I was like, who's the most aggressive 4-threat Avenger, right? Because I need the affiliation because I'm an Avenger. And so he recommended, like, look at Squirrel Girl, and I think a couple other people have mentioned to me when I brought it up to him, like, oh, she's pretty good. And so, we're going to talk a little bit about her. We're going to directly compare her to Logan, because I think it's a fair comparison. They're obviously different, but there's reasons for both. And I think one thing to remember is at the end of this discussion isn't to say should you take Logan or should you take Squirrel Girl. You can take both. That's the big thing. They kind of act in very similar manners, and then it becomes like a very interesting team. So let's talk about Squirrel Girl. We'll do some Logan comparisons, and this is what these videos do. We just talk about random stuff. 10 minutes in, we're finally getting to the point. All right, so I don't know who Squirrel Girl is in the comics. So she's a girl that has squirrels. So stat line, she's a 4 threat. She's an Avenger. That's what's important. Small base, medium move. 6 health on the front, typical. 3/3/3, fine. You'll see why it's not that bad later on. Or we can go. Actually, we should probably go and start right there. So let's talk about the Tippy Toe token. Very similar. It's basically Voodoo's token, except it comes back when she dazes. Which again, there's a world most likely where Voodoo gets nerfed at some point. Just maybe he gets this rule where he gets it back when he's dazed. I could see a world where like potentially steals become a lot less as grab and go as they are, and so I think she is aiming to not take his spot, but potentially fill a void where you're like, I don't need him here, but I need like an affiliated 4 because I can't make it work otherwise, right? And so this is where like she kind of comes in. But anyway, that's how her token works. She can give it out, Okay, when she has it, she gets 2 rerolls on defense, attack, and dodge. So that takes her 3 defenses and makes them a lot better. It's not 5. I don't know the math. It's better than. Well, it depends, right? It's almost as good as 4, but with low potential. I actually haven't done the math on the defense yet, but it's pretty good. So if you compare her to Logan, who's 4/4/2, she's right up there with him when she has the token on herself. Okay, so she has this token. And now we're going to look at her attack. So she has a 3/5, which is just as an ambush where if you roll the wild, you get to place within 1. So compared to Logan, again, he's 3 range, 5 dice. His is Pierce and an auto place. So I will say Logan's is better, especially when no one's around. Because when no one is near Logan, it's like the same thing. It's 3 range, 5 dice, 2 rerolls with Pierce and an auto place, as opposed to 3 range, 5 dice, 2 rerolls, and a wild play. So no Pierce. But 2 natural rerolls is better than Pierce when you're near people. So again, this is where I'm going to kind of say, hey, listen, remember, they can both be in the same squad. So you could have, in theory, Logan on one flank more by himself because he's better by himself, and Squirrel Girl can be with the team doing similar Logan things without needing to be by herself. And she doesn't have the you get hit by a mystic attack and you take 1 billion damage on your team. Now, it does suck that the place is on a wild and you need it's like 60%. So it's hard to like depend on it. But, with the rerolls, it's not that bad. It's 60%. But that's also like 60%. One thing I realized that Cerebro doesn't calculate is it only calculates that you reroll failures. You can reroll, if you really, I'll give you an example. If you roll 5 attacks and they all, it doesn't do the example of, if you roll 2 skulls and 3 hits, you can reroll 2 hits to try to fish for the wild. There's nothing that says you can't do that. So, I do wonder what the actual chance of getting a trigger is if you are just fishing for the trigger and don't care about the damage part of it. Or you're willing to sacrifice damage for the trigger. I might have to do that math just to see. Anyway, it's a great attack. It's range 3, I think, is a nice range for a medium mover because, as I said, if you line up exactly across from an extract, you can medium move on a midline extract or midline secure. You should be able to medium move and attack the model that picked it up, assuming they're not doing it safely. And that's why Logan's so good, because not only do you get an attack, but your action economy, you get to place there, and you get a free move just because you attack somebody. So, in a sense, range, and that's why range 3 in doing this is so big, is for both of them, range 3 is longer than a medium move. It's range 6 versus range 5, but I guess base to base, it's about the same. but you get to place anywhere around them, and you get the attack in the middle of it. So unless you really don't want to attack them for whatever reason, maybe giving them power or dazing them, it really is nice to do this. Okay, so she is a good builder. Great. Spender, 4 range, 6 dice, 2 power. So it's cheap, which is nice. On damage, gives stun and bleed. So being on damage can be a little bit... I don't know what's better. It's probably better than a wild, right? I don't know. It's close. It depends on what you're attacking. But 6 dice with a reroll, 2 rerolls, is probably pretty good chance to do at least 1 damage. We can use Cerebro. I have 2 of them up just to see. But I'm pretty sure it's pretty good chance to do 1 damage on even a 4 defense model. So if you do a damage, bleed and stun, great. Everyone loves stun. Bleed is probably my least favorite condition. One of them, just because it always feels like you're either going to kill him, or maybe it's more annoying than I think. But range 4 is really good. I mean, that's far. It has a wild push and size 3. So size 3 is pretty big if you're against crims or something. Just being able to push them off. Again, 6 dice with 2 rerolls. You're probably looking at, I don't know, we'll do the math on that after we talk about what it does. And then push S. And it's also omnidirectional. So that's something interesting too, where you can push them towards you. So you could, in theory, 2 dice, Army of Squirrels, 4 range. If you get it, you can pull them towards you and then do your normal strike and then hopefully get the place off of it. Is it always going to happen? No, it's not guaranteed. You're fishing for wilds. She's probably pretty good with New Steve for that reason. But it could happen. And again, it's in parallel with Logan. It's not to replace Logan. So 2 pretty good attacks, I'd say. I'd say those are both great. We already talked about she can bring back the Squirrel Token. The Squirrel Token gives her rerolls, which is great. And so I guess the one big thing she does differently is she can give the Tippy Toe Token. Tippy Toe, what's it called? It's called the Tippy Toe. This is a dumbass token name, but I get it. It's her. I just feel dumb saying it. Like ordering a fancy girly drink, or not girly drink, like a prissy drink at a bar. Though I do love them, so I do order them. So this character may spend any amount of power to put the token on range 3, similar to Voodoo. And what it does, it's actually pretty obnoxious. Holy shit! I read it the other day because I didn't really read it that much. And removing crits, and so it's not just exploding crits, it's crits. It's really big. It's really obnoxious to get hit with this token for a lot of money. And it's on defense too. So I think the one thing to remember is, I did the math, and I think Reality Gem Thanos averages 3 damage on a 3 defense model when he punches them. He averages 1.2 if you tippy toe take down him. Now, to be fair, it's 8 power to put it on him. It's very difficult. But if you think of models like Hulk, iHawk, I mean, the reason the Hulks actually sucks for them is because they don't die, right? So because it's one continuous health bar, they are stuck with this until you kill her or she chooses to bring it back to herself. Again, not easy to get it on you. But it's also good for after your attack. So one math I did do, which we'll go, is this is a 5 dicer versus 3 with her rerolls versus with them having the token. So if you're against a 3 defense dice, you want to keep the token on yourself before you so attack and then give them the token. Don't give them the token first, because it's better for you to have the rerolls than the token. Now, if it's 4, it's close. It's it's better to keep it. So the idea is keep the token before you attack. Is probably the best way to say it. And so looking at the spender real quick, if it's 6 dice versus 4 with 2 rerolls. Oh, did I break it? Is it doing it? Can't tell if it did it. I feel like I'm messing with Cerebro here. Maybe I'll just quickly do it. Yeah. So the idea is to keep the token. But what you can do is, assuming Doreen is safe from her attack from the enemy, is you do your attacks knowing that it's better to have the token on yourself. And depending on the model, give them the token afterwards. And now they're going to be worse when they attack you. Or they're just worse when like enemies start doing stuff to them. So, that's the other part of it is, not only is someone like iHawk or Hawk really going to be crap when it's not even rolling extra crits. They don't count it. Have you ever played against Domino and how obnoxious it is that you don't get extra crits? Now I'll take that and say you don't even get to count the ones you roll. In fact, she shits on Domino because Domino's a 3 threat, and you put this on her and she can't use her stupid ass spender or her superpower to count skulls because they count as crits, and so she doesn't even get to roll extra dice. I'm pretty sure about that. Domino. Pretty sure. Let's see if I'm talking up my ass. Yeah, so they treat him as a crit, so it doesn't even work. Like he turns off Domino. She is a 4 dice rapid fire that doesn't get crits. It's actually like you can pretty much put it on her and then like walk away from her and say, man, you're done. Now I don't even want to attack you. Or you put it on her. Like, she's probably the one that like you'd want to put it on her then attack her because you don't get your crits anymore. Yeah, you don't either. Yeah, that's probably good. I want to do this with rerolls. I just want to see what the chance of the spender doing damage is. I think that's it. All right. So 85% chance to do damage with the spender against 4 defense dice. And what's the chance on a wild? 66? Not bad. So we were talking about the play of the push this. Pretty good. Good chance to do the damage, to get the bleed stun, and then a good chance to push it. So that's her. I mean, she has the back is the same except she has 5 health. So again, kind of coming back to Logan, defense-wise, very similar. Rerolls versus 4. Same health on the front, same move. She's wall crawler. He's not. He's immune to stun, which is great. Healing factor, of course, I really love. He has access to exceptional healing, which is amazing. She gets Avengers Assemble, which can also be very good on some of these situations. And again, the idea is you can have both of them. You don't have to just take one of them. So I really want to try this like 17 team of like her, Logan, X-23, Luke, and Sam. And so Sam can be your backline guy doing whatever, throwing things, shielding, whatever Sam does, providing the leadership. Luke can defend people as needed and go up, because one thing that's kind of cool is if you do it right, depending, Logan, X-23, whoever goes in with their attacks, whether it's with, their action economy, whatever, and if Luke is positioned right, like, and the enemy attacks one of them, he can heroes for hire and then get all the way up in the fight. So instead of heroes for hiring, like, in your lines and you push them away and Luke is still standing there, you could potentially get a free move off Luke, and all of a sudden, in the enemy backfield, it's like X-23, Squirrel, Logan, Luke, all sitting back there attacking, and if they do any, damage to you, you get Sam's leadership, and, when 2 of the main people you gotta kill trigger leaderships, but also have healing factor for potential like 3 heal a turn, I just feel like it could be really good. And then she kind of slots in there. We'll go quickly over her tactics cards, and then I think that's it for this video. Also, that list, you can name it like the Falcon, a Falcon, a Squirrel, and 2 Wolverines. It's like the animal pack. Animals Assemble is what the list would be called. Because there's 4 animals and then Luke, even though they're not animals. She's the only actual animal, I guess. But we like it anyway. So let's look at her cards. So this one, it's cool to do the math and whatever, you hit Thanos with it and you KO him and you win the game because you rolled whatever percent it is. I would never buy this card. No. No, right? No one's putting this in their 10 and taking it and then spending 10 power, 8 power to do it. Just use your power on good stuff. So this is the one I think is interesting. So when Gwenpool came out and Squirrel came out, first off, people talked like they were going to be played forever, like a lot, or at least Gwenpool, especially because of this card. And I literally have never played against either one of them, ever. Through TTS leagues, and no one's ever put these. I don't know if I've seen them in the Maybe one person had him in their team. Definitely somebody has, I guess. But you never see him. But let's see what the card does. So you pay 3, and it does one of two things. If you're within 1, they get to roll no defense dice. And if they're not within 1, you get to place them within 1. And it's after the attack is resolved. And Doreen... Oh, it's before damage dealt. Oh, that sucks. I was trying to think of a play where you could get somebody out of 4. This is also kind of good because you could push them before damage actually is purposeful. Because if they daze, you can still push them. That being said, you have to push them. Oh, it's not even a May. Oh, well, with omnidirectional and stuff, it's not that big a deal. Anyway, back to the card. I was thinking maybe you could do the spender, bring them to you, and then push them away from you. So, like, if you think about TTS, right, you're 4 away, you port them behind you, so now they've moved essentially, like, 10 inches, and then they push a small again, so they've moved another, like, 3 plus their base. I mean, you're probably, like, pushing them 14 inches. And I think the idea of kidnapping them is kind of cool. I mean, it does cost a decent amount of power. One thing that's actually kind of cool... No, it's not actually cool. That's not cool at all. Never mind. I guess if you did it with her spender, or no, not a spender, her builder, you could choose, and you got the wild, you could choose who goes first. So, you could either pull them to you and then place one off of them, or you could go to them and then place them one off of you there. So a little bit of a displacement in that case. One thing to note is this is also not a May, so you have to go. So both the triggers are not May. Which is fine. I guess in theory, if you I don't know why you'd ever attack and roll away your wild. You have to just accept that you're going to do it. But the one that everyone talked about, the kidnap, because I guess Gwen could do it from very far, and Squirrel can do it from far. It costs 5 power to do it from far, because Gwen at least has a 0 cost range 4. But the other one is kind of cool, right? Like, no defense dice. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's 5 power. But if somebody had a 5 power, I mean, it's a card too. It's probably bad. Like, I don't know if I take this card in my 10. It's probably going to be hard because if you're using her with Logan and Luke, you're already running, like, Heroes for Hire, Assemble, Exceptional Healing. You probably want no matter the cost, and then you're probably taking one of your 2 restricted, if not both restricted. So you're probably out of cards. Like, that's probably why this doesn't get played, because it's going to be hard to fit in your 10. And it only works on her, and it's, like, just situational. But from that perspective, though, like, the fact that she can do somebody where they roll no defense dice, I mean, her spender gets 2 rerolls. So it's 6 dice, 2 rerolls, no defense dice. It's like you're basically auto getting the stun and bleed. And then I think 6 dice with no defense is like a lot of damage. I mean, you're talking like 80% of the time. So like you have a really good chance to almost one-shot a 5 health. I mean, you have 50-50 almost a one-shot a 5 health model with this card. Like, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad at all. It's definitely in consideration. I'd have to play with her more to see if it kind of works out. Again, another one of those models to play with and just see. But you can see the comparisons to Logan, right? Like she kind of has similarities. Now, Logan is Logan. You could say he's one of the best 4s in the game. I think no one's going to argue. I love playing him, hate playing against him. So, it's, again, you can take both and she's affiliated. That's the big thing. Because I don't know what other affiliated 4 is going to do as much damage. Panther, I don't like Panther. I don't know why I don't like Panther. But I feel like the Avengers 4s... Let's just take a look real quick. Who we got? Affiliation Avengers... And where's the statistics? Would be 4th threat. Again, we're mainly focusing on So it's Blade you're never going to take. Okay, there's 2 Steves maybe if they're leaders, but they're not going to place her. Marvels, no. Voodoo you already have, not Wolverine. So it's like Vision is good on ease, but I don't think he's good on what I'm trying to do, is probably the bigger reason. Like, I don't want him... he's not in the... I like him a lot, actually. I just don't think he's in the place that I want him for. One person I probably want to make a video on, and I don't want this one to run any longer. Oh, shit, sorry, 30 minutes. Is Spider-Woman. I actually think she's, like, really good. Every time I'm playing against her, she's super annoying. So, yeah, I think she's worth a try. And there you go. Thanks.